unpacking some things for me, and oh, I see what happened here. Do, do, do. Let's get this going. Okay. No, my phone's doing weird things. The buttons are so sensitive these days. It's acting different than it used to. Okay, okay, we'll be quiet here. Okay. So let's talk about the boy with, no, yeah. Well, the boy that had the demon, okay, I find this one particularly interesting because he referred to him as unbelieving and a perverse generation. Now, I really don't want to hear those words from Jesus. I mean, he's talking to his disciples, meaning we could fall in the same category. And walk with Jesus pretty regularly, and have heard the commandment that in my name you shall cast out devils and all that kind of stuff. So you can hear all that stuff, then not have it, and then fall short, and then God call you up and go, hey guys, let me tell you, it's because of unbelief. And actually, when it first happened, he says to him, there's three different accounts of this particular one. Go with me to Matthew 17. We're going to focus this morning on the accounts where Jesus comes down on them for their lack of faith. Ooh. Yeah. This is more thing. This may bleed over into tomorrow because there's a lot here, and I'm not going to keep you that long. That's why I just went ahead and started there, because I wanted to teach a little bit here. Yeah, Matthew 17. Let's start at verse 14. Bring my glasses back down, don't I? All right. Verse 14. And when they had come to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and suffers severely, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? This was troubling for Jesus. This bothered him. Bring him here to me. Come on, hallelujah. That's an important part right there. Just bring him to Jesus. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, why couldn't we cast him out? Well, he'd kind of already told them in a way. It was all because of your perversity and your unbelief and your unfaithfulness. Well, he just kind of doubles down on it. I'm going to get into that, actually. So Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for surely I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. Not every translation says it quite like that, but there is that there for sure. And so not everything comes out. If you're not ready for any job, if you're not ready for it, you're going to end up coming up short because you didn't bring your tools to work, or you forgot something, you didn't set your alarm, you didn't do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So anything that is going on, and I know this within myself too. And so who wants to be ready for the job when they come to work? I mean, right? Okay. And think about it. Some of you will come in here in the mornings where you're just not really ready. You're not spiritually, haven't prepared. You're waiting for me to do something or something like this. And you're not really spiritually prepared, and then you're suffering behind the scenes, and you see what I'm saying? So you got to be spiritually prepared, just like the boxing or whatever. You know, you got to get ready. You can't just show up and I'm going to kick somebody's tail and you don't have any skills. Do you know what I mean? I've watched enough of like the UFC and stuff like that to realize, oh my gosh, like the difference between trained and and untrained, including just just I mean, having the wind to handle it. Some don't have the endurance to go through the difficulty and the suffering. They don't hit the bag long enough. They don't run. They don't do these types of things. And because of that, they're not really ready. They're going to get winded. They can dance around in a circle 3 minutes later before the round's up. All you have to do is just wait, and that person's too tired to do it, and you're going to beat the tar out of them. Isn't that right? Just because they're winded, you know how to block and move and shuffle around some, and that other person just doesn't have the cardio to take you. A lot of these street fights end in 30 seconds. Why? Because the people don't even have the cardio to really do it. And if there's somebody that really knows what they're doing, all they'll do is wear them out and then just rip them apart. And they know what they're doing. That's a crazy combination. That's scary. That's why I just stay nice with everybody. Hey, Jesus loves you. I'm going to go eat a burger. I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm going to go eat a burger. You want me to buy you one? All right. But do you see what I'm saying, though, about being unprepared? So really it's about preparing. So it's like most, I think, translations say some come out with prayer and fasting. I don't know that. But not every account even mentions that. But it's there for us to see. It's recalled. And the idea is that you got to be prepared. Okay, but now listen to this. Now really, you had asked about it's what's up. Well, let me help you. Let me help you with that. And just to be totally clear, I love you so much, and I actually appreciate your willing. He's eager to learn. But this isn't my question and answer time. This is my morning session. But at the same time, I hear you. I want to answer both those questions, and I care deeply about your desire to learn. And you should, maybe take note of those things. And then that's how we can handle it too. But I've tried to get to most of this. And I could go off on that second question you just asked some, but our lower faculties, whether it's food or any other appetite that we might have, desire that we might have, good, bad, or ugly. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a meal, whatever, you know what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with going to have there's nothing wrong with viewing a film or going to do or going out with your family or whatever. But if your weekends are nothing but family time, and there's no Jesus time, there's a problem. But say this, some people they barely have time for church because they're going skiing on the lake, they're doing this, that, and the other, and it all sounds healthy, but it's like when it's repetitive and it's regular, you got to go, okay, where's the time for the Lord? So here's the thing, all of our lower faculties, you could take food as an example, and it'll actually work through all the lower faculties. So if you set aside that, all right, then you actually will find yourself setting aside other stuff because it's the same base thing. We're just driven. Oh, let me get back on my phone again. Or let me go do this. And we're distracted with all kinds of things. And so food, you could just take one thing and it'll actually spill over into all the other areas of your life. Because really what it is a lack of discipline. And the devil can't work with a well-disciplined life. Actually, he's referred to as the lawless one. And Jesus describes James describes sin as being lawlessness. So wild anarchy is the nature of our flesh. When we bring the lower faculties of our life, our sinful nature under subjection, or our appetites under subjection, even good ones, bad ones, and ugly ones, I'm saying, then we begin to practice those disciplines that will actually pull us into a place. Do you see what I'm saying? The discipline that it takes. So you can take food, and they often did, and that's a lot of probably what they are talking about. But in reality, you can fast from other things and get similar results. It's about going without, but not to go without for going without. I mean, there's people that have given up golf because it just consumed their time. I mean, I know people that did this, and then ultimately just decided not to pick it back up. And I know people that will not watch any television at all, not because they think they're better than anybody else, but because they've just made a decision to do that because it was a continued thing that kept trying to come back in. And they saw it as a pattern, and they're like, well, what the heck? Let's end it. I think that's the only way I'm going to deal with it. Let's turn off the TV. And then they just don't watch TV anymore, and the years go by, and they still don't watch any television or whatever. You know? I cut out social media, like 90% of it. But I keep my LinkedIn up, and then recently I started watching reels on LinkedIn. Come on. It's all business stuff, but I'm like, come on, it's the same pattern in a way, you know? It's all business stuff. Zero things that are like weird or unclean or annoying or anything like that. But it's right up my alley, too, because I'm a businessman. So I watch broker these deals, I listen to these guys that are successful, and I enjoy that stuff. But I can get lost doing that, too, you know what I mean? So, I throw my phone, I'm like, what in the world, Marcus? Because it's not about getting rid of just bad stuff. It's about getting rid of things that are obstacles to you being able to hear God's voice. We're so distracted with so many things we can't hear his voice. So then when push comes to shove and we're dealing with something that's really serious, we're really not ready for it. By the way, who are we fighting against? Flesh and blood? People? Okay, so we're always fighting against spiritual forces, right?